Brahmanandam Paramasukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasya Dilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami.
Thank you. Yeah. Now I want to ask about your voice and the training. You've been practicing for some time and really trained your voice.
Yes.
Do you remember when you first had interest in developing your voice in that kind of way, and what sparked that for you?
I always sang, so in high school and choir and things like that. When I first heard Indian chanting and Indian music, it just moved my spirit so much. I wanted to know more about it, and so that was a long journey of just learning how to sing bhajans, how to sing kirtan, that style. And I think once, it was much later when I was in the ashram, when I learned the Indian methods of singing, it was very different from what I learned in choir and in things like that. So that's what led me eventually to study more of the Indian vocals. But my goal was always just to sing better bhajans, to be able to just express devotion in a different way. And so that's what I pursued. Once I learned the basics, I was satisfied. I didn't try to go and be a classical singer or anything like that. So,
yeah. Is there something about like being satisfied with learning the basics that might be important, as opposed to like a really strong desire, determination to get to a certain level, right? Like just the difference between, wow, I'm just so happy to be doing this, and to understand the basics versus I need more.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So how were you first introduced? You remember? To Indian chanting.
To Indian chanting.
Yeah. To Bhakta.
It's a great question.
Yeah.
I have to go way back. My father was really interested in chanting, so he had some kirtan groups, chanting groups in Seattle at the time. And it was kind of a mix, so there were devotees from Sai Baba group. It was kind of like whoever was into, but it was different. It was more sit in a circle, a guitar, different. And I was very young, but I was exposed to that. But the more traditional Indian music, I think the first time I really heard that was when Ammachi came, and at that time we lived in Mountain View, and it was 1993. So it was very small, not like today where it's, thousands of devotees in a hotel. And she was there, Mataji, Amma, and her group of devotees, and I watched them facing her, chanting hour after hour. And I saw the tabla and the harmonium, and they had flute, and everyone, and it was so beautiful and musically so different. And I realized that they're not performing, they're not jamming, they don't really even look at each other that much. They're engrossed in devotion, and that was the moment that I think I saw it and felt it, and that was a big change for me.
Something there was important regarding that. For them it was about a practice, or for us when we chant, it's about the practice of it. It's not about me being a performer and giving someone else an experience.
Yes, that's so important, especially now with what we see in the West with kirtan and things. It's prayer, not performance. Yeah, it's practice.
Yeah. Okay, so on Saturday at satsang, you said something that I really was curious to ask you about. See if I can get it right, but something along the lines that God has everything, like the wisdom and the power, but that God needs us to show him love. Correct me if I'm not saying it, but
No, yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
Yeah. And I find that fascinating, right? That God is interested in experiencing love through us, or that we're the pathway for this uncovering of love. Yeah, can you just share more about that? Yeah.
Yes, yes. So I'm hearing in the back of my mind, there's a few old recordings of Paramahansa Yogananda's voice, and he repeats that teaching in one of those recordings. And yeah, it's explaining that to try to impress God with power doesn't work, because God has all the power, of the universe. Even to impress God or to offer God wisdom, God has all the knowledge. And then he says God can, we cannot tell the story of a leaf on a tree, but God knows the story of every leaf on every tree. And so going along on that line, he ends with love. That there's one thing that's missing that God does not have, is our love, because we've been given the freedom to offer it or not. And that if we're forced to love, it's not love. And I pondered that a lot. You cannot force somebody to love. You can force them to do all sorts of things, but love has to be given freely. And that's something that I've contemplated. It's a deep meditation that God is seeking that or wants that from us, but we can only freely give it.
Yeah. But to me also, it's a beautiful answer to, I think, the most fundamental question. And that is, what is the purpose of all of this? What's the purpose of my life? What is this purpose of this planet? Like everything, and it really feels impossible to know, but to me, that's the best answer that there is. Like, it seems that God, the creator, must be interested in uncovering something, right? Otherwise, why?
Yeah.
Otherwise, why would this exist?
Yeah.
And so, while to me, like, humility is the most important thing, is that to be okay without knowing. That practice of just, I don't need to know. Okay, that's fine. I don't need to know what the purpose is. However, if I were asked, right, it would be this answer. It makes more sense than anything else. It feels true that, like, God is interested in love, and that we have this freedom, and through this freedom that we've been given, that we can uncover this love, we can experience this love, and that God is very happy when that happens.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. So you began your kind of, well, I don't know, we all begin our journeys in the beginning, but something I think when you were around 14 years old, you became a disciple or a fellow of the self-realization
Yes.
with Paramahansa Yogananda. So can you share a little bit about that journey, that experience, what happened for you then?
I was exposed to his teachings a little bit. Like I said, my father was really interested and started meditating and having chant groups. So that was around me a little bit, so that helps, and just being exposed. But it doesn't always guarantee anything. I think the time where I myself made that my own, it was sparked partly by seeing Amma. That helped. And then there was just a choice inside of me. I can't really explain it, but there was a choice inside of me, like, I'm ready. I want to do this now. I want to read. I want to meditate. I want to understand. And so I started reading the Autobiography of a Yogi. That seemed like the starting point. And it overwhelmed me. Some people say that, they find that spiritual book that changes their life. And I've heard so many people say, oh, I read it in 3 days, or I read it all night. Whatever book. Me, it took a month because I would read a few pages and just be overwhelmed. But that changed a lot for me. It opened up. And so I started taking the lessons and started to meditate, and wanted to learn how to chant. Because my parents are divorced, I was living with my mom, and she wasn't into it, or my stepdad. So it was hard in one sense to feel a little bit alone in that. And when I look back, though, it was a good thing too, because I had to just make it my own. And there's something about a spiritual relationship or a spiritual path that part of it's solitary. Even if you're with a community, part of it's just you and the divine, or you and the guru. So I continued, and kind of secretly, obviously, through high school, and I mean, so many of us, right? We sometimes we hide that part of our life in the beginning, because we're just trying to see, how does this fit? How does this interact with the world, with family, all of that. But I continued and took the lessons and started to meditate and started to chant, and that interest and that desire grew, and some of it was kind of romanticized and childish, like, oh, I want to be a yogi, and just the way that it's described in some of these books is so beautiful and so simple, just the simple life of the yogis in the Himalayas or in the ashram. I didn't realize that was slightly false advertising, because you join an ashram nowadays and it's complex sometimes, with the dynamics of being in the West and organizations and all of that. But at the heart of it, it's there still. And so pursuing that, I eventually ended up joining the ashram.
You mentioned at the start, it was a part of your life that you were hiding, or keeping close.
Yeah.
But I wonder if there's a wisdom in that too, right? That's something that is so special to us. I don't know if you have this experience, but I do sometimes that, like, I have a tendency to share, to let it out, to talk about it. But I've been kind of playing with, is something lost when I do that? And is it wiser for the thing that's really special to me, that means so much, to just keep that relationship, between me and the divine, right? Any thoughts on that? Have you experienced that?
I have. Yeah. I totally agree. Yeah. I think there's some things are definitely worth sharing, and especially with whom. Sometimes we have really deep spiritual friendships. Brother, sister on the path, and you can share something. It's inspiring. But generally, I've done the same. Yeah. I prefer to keep. It's like something so sacred that it's not. It feels strange to just put it out. I don't know if that's my only motive when I was younger. There was also insecurity and things like that. But I think what you say is really important, because I think keeping it sacred and special, intimate is important.
Because maybe something happens too with words, because something that's so precious or sacred, what makes it so precious or sacred is the fact that it's beyond words. And then we're trying to describe it. Right. And we give it names.
We limit it all of a sudden.
And then it's limited, and then it turns into those words that I'm describing and not the actual thing.
Yeah. And we live in such an intellectual society that a lot of people like to share. And I would feel uncomfortable sometimes when I'd be in a bigger group and people just started talking about their experiences. And I saw this light, or I had this, that. And I thought, is it competitive? Is it... I was just observing, wondering what are the motivations for, and then I just looked at myself. Okay, what are my motivations for sharing something or not sharing? And so, I think it's important to keep it special, and not feel like we have to share everything or define everything. Yeah.
You mentioned competitive competition, and that, to me, it's a very big subject, actually. That if I'm being honest with myself, that is behind my motivations, to act, or I want to be aware of that, and that is a lot of kind of the driving force in our culture, maybe in society. Not necessarily the competition that we think, in terms of, sports or business or something like that, but competition to elevate myself in the eyes of others, just in that way, or want to be higher than someone else, and to genuinely not do that, to me, is a very deep practice.
It's especially when we live in community, I think it's part of our nature to make sure we have a place in a community, whether it's an ashram or just a loose, community of devotees, a sangha. And I think when we're on a spiritual path, we come together, and especially in the West, we just come together with our people, so to say. Same guru, or we meditate together, or we believe in a certain thing, and we get a lot of support. I have gotten so much support. I still get a lot of support. But those other things creep in.
Yeah.
The things of where's my place and competition. I used to joke about it when there would be a line of devotees lining up to get food, and I'd see like a few people fighting for the back of the line. Like, no, you go. No, you go. No, you go.
Yeah.
And I just called it competitive humility.
Competitive humility.
And what could be more, contradictory than competitive humility? So.
That's great. Have you discovered any antidote to that for yourself?
Antidote. Well, something that I used to say to myself a lot when I was in the ashram, I would feel left out. I would just feel left out. I wasn't invited to the gathering where the senior, where Mataji would be, or things would be happening in the ashram, and I was a younger one or a newer one, and I wasn't there, and I started to feel like I'm left out, and all those kind of ego feelings would emerge, whether it's competition or other things, And so I started to tell myself, I kind of came up with my own little rhyme, you won't feel left out if you're right within. And I would just tell myself. So rather than seeking a sense of belonging or a sense of approval or all of the things that my ego was seeking, I was externalizing it all. I was seeking it from other people. And I was just telling myself, turn it all within, go within, find your sense of belonging within. The Guru is always with you. Divine Mother's here. You're loved. You're approved. Whatever I needed to say to myself, and that's really helped. And just remind myself, what I'm looking for, it can also be found within.
Like being right within. Is that what you said? Being right
yeah,
within.
it kind of had a double meaning, like go right within, but also right. So if I feel left out, it was kind of playing with words.
Yeah.
Left and right. If I feel left out, so go right within.
Do you think
right within.
getting right within or being right within, is that acceptance? Is that like
That's
a
a
very
lot.
deep acceptance of my being? Yeah.
It could be. I haven't defined it all, but
Yeah.
I think that definitely happens at some point. Acceptance, yeah.
Yeah. It seems like there's like this play between every moment, constantly like fluctuating. In one moment, such deep acceptance, it's such deep peace, and then in the next moment there could be doubt.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yep.
And they both often feel permanent.
Right. Yeah.
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 What did you make when you read Autobiography of a Yogi? Because when I did, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. But I also didn't know what to make of the stories about the cities.
I know. Yeah. Some of it really overwhelmed me, but I had this. I just had this faith that it was all real. So I didn't have like the skeptical mind. It could have been my age, or maybe it was just I was younger, or it was just my samskaras that I just knew at a deep level that all of that was totally true and real. And so I was just trying to stretch my mind to be able to hold that. And it was very, I've heard the word said fantastic. I think that is a good word for some of the stories and the miracles and the siddhis, like you're saying, fantastic. But there's another element, and I think it's more hidden, it's more subtle, and I've read the book so many times. There's a lot of relationship in that book between guru and disciple, in between him and his own guru, between him meeting other saints, and little stories of like him seeking, and just that search and the relationship that he had with his guru, that spoke to me more, even than the fantastical things. I believed it, but I just felt it was so far out of reach.
Yeah.
So what am I looking for? What will I be able to get? I'm not looking for any siddhis. I just thought I believe it, but it's so far beyond me. But what do I want? A guru-disciple relationship, how to deal with that longing and that search, What does the sadhana look like? Also seeing little bits of humor that were woven in. It just started to become much more of an experiential book that had a lot of signs of different types of relationships with holy people, like divine relationships. And that's really what it's become for me.
Mm. Yeah. Is there something you found particularly unique about Paramahansa Yogananda? I'm sure you've studied many different gurus, but there's something about him that is unique?
Yes, well, and I haven't studied that many gurus, so I think because I was so young when I felt that connection with Paramahansa Yogananda, that I kind of stopped there. And it's not because anyone told me, it wasn't any kind of a thing of which people do believe that. There is that teaching of like, once you find your guru, don't. But that wasn't my motivation. And of course I've read some, but I can't say, even when I look at all of the holy pictures in this beautiful hall and in the bigger hall, there's some of them I don't know about. I think what's unique about Yoganandaji for me, obviously, is that deep relationship, Guru-Sapa relationship. But aside from that, I think unique about his teaching, obviously he emphasized Kriya Yoga, but every guru kind of emphasizes their lineage, their sadhana. Something else that was unique, especially for that era, was his introduction to Divine Mother. So for example, Swami Vivekananda in his time didn't publicly speak or write about Divine Mother or about Goddess. And at a certain point, especially in Autobiography and later in his talks and even in his chants, his bhajans, he sang to Divine Mother, he spoke of Divine Mother, he wrote of Divine Mother. And that really touched me. And it was unique still at that time. A lot of the other gurus that I would read about didn't emphasize so much. Sri Ramakrishna did. If you're reading Gospel of Ramakrishna, there's a lot of talk about Kali, of course, but others. And so that really appealed to me. And I think that is maybe not now so much, but it was very unique for quite some time to have the Divine Mother as an option, so to say. Because in our society, God is generally thought of as God or He, or whether it's Brahman and that's not a new teaching. That's that older teaching in India of the different Ishtadevatas, the different forms of the divine. But that really struck me. And also he's very poetic. So I don't know how many gurus who came to the West wrote books of poems. I'm sure there's some, but his poetry really struck me too as being very profound and very beautiful.
What is the Divine Mother to you?
Divine Mother is literally and more in terms of form is Kali, but can be any. I love that term, Divine Mother, because it's formless in one sense. It's a general term. So Divine Mother can be formless divine love, a cosmic love of the Mother, the motherhood of God, and can be in form as Kali, can be in form as Lakshmi, Saraswati, if I'm feeling that, wanting that kind of a connection. Divine Mother, in a sense, is closer. I feel closer to Divine Mother than to the Divine Father. I believe they're both together in all creation, and there's so much philosophy and theology around all of that. But that's not where my mind goes. I've studied it in Prakriti and Purusha, or Mahakali and Brahman and Maya, and all of the different angles that explain creation and the feminine and Shakti, all of that. But that's not where I stay. I've read it. In the day-to-day, it's Mother. It's Ma. And everything that Mother is, that could be, that can be, and more is Divine Mother. It's both human and transcendent. The ultimate love of Mother.
I wonder how that ties into what we were speaking about in regard to kind of the discovery of love. Right? So there's this Divine Mother that is love, you know? And then there's also this discovery that we can have, you know, to open our hearts to love, and there can be maybe this connection between us and her, something like that.
Yes, I think, yes, yeah, so much of that,
There's something, right, like the even just considering, okay, mother and father, you know, at the core level, you know, what are the attributes of either? Mother just, it's so accepting again. You know, the mother is just like, oh, you know, like, I love you no matter what. Like, I love like all of you, which in a way I think can give freedom to play with this acceptance that's coming, this love from the mother. Okay, like now I'm loose. Type of thing. Yeah.
So much, yeah. Yeah, we have the term unconditional love, and it's a beautiful word, unconditional love. But I mean, what is it? I mean, I always wanted to feel it or see it and really know it, and it seems it has no end. Because every time I think it's unconditional, if I really, you know, analyze either in myself or something, I'm going to hit a condition at some point, you know, a limit. There'll be something, and I think Divine Mother is also the fullness of what that is, and that she's continuously pouring it on her children, on all of us. But we have our own limits and doubts, and that's part of like you're saying, part of that exploration or discovery of what divine love is. But I think she can show it to us.
And do you feel that when you're chanting, that that's possible, that happens more for you, that this connection to love that isn't limited, that doesn't have a condition, it's just an experience of pure love?
It's been easier for me in chanting, but also in meditation. They're interwoven, so it's not just one or the other. But for me, that's been chanting alone. If I'm chanting with a group, I'm still a little bit guarded. It's just the reality of it. I don't feel like completely expose, bare my soul and heart. But when I've been alone in my practice, in my sadhana, if it's chanting and meditation and chanting, there are some chants that Yogananda wrote in English, and some of them are directly to Divine Mother. And so I would sing those. One of them, the words are, "Receive me on thy lap, O Mother, cast me not at death's door, cast me not at delusion's door." So I would sing that over and over, and because I was alone, sometimes I would just repeat the line, "Receive me on thy lap, O Mother." You know, and what does that mean even? And do I visualize literally her lap, and what does it look like? And no, it's a feeling. It's a feeling, you know, just of being received and being held. Whatever, I'm speaking of it, but I wasn't thinking. I was trying to just feel. And I think that singing, especially in that kind of a mood, is very vulnerable. It's very open. It's very, it's just a lot easier. It's been a lot easier for me to feel love or to be receptive. And then I would stop chanting and feel that, and then go into meditation and try to feel that more, and do whatever the practices were, and then go back into it. And years later, SRF published some letters between Yogananda and some of his disciples that had never been published before. And one of them, there was a line in there, and he was writing to one of his disciples back in India. And he wrote, and he said, "When you are practicing your Kriya Yoga with the love of Divine Mother in your heart, remember I'm with you in spirit." And that really hit me, and I thought, oh, I can practice the yoga, you know, the pranayama, and we have all these techniques, right, that we've got to do. I can do that with the love of Divine Mother in my heart. It was like a little hint. And I thought, oh, they're not separate. And so I started to see, how can I do that? How can I apply that?
I wonder about how this connects with kind of the child within us. Like just reconnecting to that place, right? Like I believe that always still exists, you know, but it's often covered up, you know, by so much, right? The need to be strong, to be independent,
Yeah.
all of these things, but inquiring really, like, what does it mean to be a child? Or, like, what is a child like? And it's I think, like, deep, like, right, like letting go into the lap, right? Like, I love that, like, just the idea of being in the lap and what that means.
I know. Yeah. It's hard. I mean, life is tough. So we've just learned. I know I have learned to protect that child. And Sri Ramakrishna, Paramahansa, who really brought Kali, I think, into a whole new era of that's what he said, child-mother relationship. And he talked about different relationships with mother, specifically with Kali. So there's different approaches. Some, Kali is cosmic power. They kind of approach in a different way. He said, I choose the child-mother relationship with Kali. And that really set a tone, and Yogananda was the same, and that really, that touched something in me. I can be a child. I don't need to approach Divine Mother as anything else. What a relief. and I can just be a child. And I can't be a child all the time. Like you're saying, we've got, it's the battle almost, of Kurukshetra. And yet she's so powerful and strong that she's also going to help us to be strong. Like, my child, you got to go out now and work and face your karmas and be in the battle. I'm with you. Be strong. Be strong. Okay. And then I come back, though, and I can just be a child again. And I think having and that's the meditation time for in our lives that we try to have. Having a time in my day where I'm alone, in my little corner or wherever, where I can be alone with Divine Mother. That's the safe, so-called safe place where I try to let go of all that layers and just be, as much as I can, be a child and be with her.
How important is it to love the practice of meditation? The practice, right?
Yeah.
I think maybe this is something that I just notice is missed.
Yeah.
Sometimes with things like, I'm not good at meditation, or was it good meditation, it was a bad meditation, or how do I meditate? Or, it just seems that falling in love with the practice is essential.
Oh yeah. Hard to do.
Why is it hard to fall in love with the practice?
Because the practice challenges us. So I do think it's like true love, true friends. True friends will criticize you. Lovingly, but they'll criticize you, they'll look out for you. And those relationships are the best and the hardest at first for some people. So I think meditation is also like a mirror. So I think that's one reason why it's difficult for a lot of people, a lot of us, especially in the beginning, because we finally get calm and then we look at the mirror and go, oh no, oh my gosh, I've got all these habits, I've got all these things going on. And then it so easily it just becomes a duty. I'm going to do this. But that's part of it. That everybody goes through that. That's what I used to tell my friends and my family when
They would say things like, you're being too hard on yourself, or you're going to the ashram or doing the sadhana. What if I was an Olympic athlete? What would you say? That's acceptable. If I say, every day, I got to go to the gym, I've got to do this. And some days it's horrible. And I don't feel like I have any chance, but I do it. I still show up. So I think there is that discipline of not looking for results. Because that's what we're told, right? Our gurus tell us, you plant a seed in the ground, you cover it up, you forget about it. And you just do your job. You water it. And if you take the seed out to see if it's growing, you set the whole thing back. And it's just, so there's definitely times, I think, in our lives where nothing's happening, to our eyes. The seed's been planted, we're watering it and wondering if anything's going to happen, or just like in a farm, there's a period of time that's dormant. But to know that roots are growing underground, and to have faith that a fruit will show up at some point, So I've gone through those phases. I think it was harder in the beginning, and there's definitely been some ebb and flows in life. But I can say now where I am, I do love the practice. I look forward to meditating. And I've tried to train my mind to say, this is good for the soul loves to meditate. The soul loves to meditate because that's communion with the divine. So if I'm resisting it, it's not the soul, it's something else. And if it's becoming dry and methodic, then I change it up. You know, if I can, I'll meditate outside, or I'll chant more, or I'll do something to try to keep it dynamic. You know, we're not supposed to be robots. But there are times where, in my life anyway, I try not to evaluate it, I just keep doing it, knowing that I'll get through whatever that dry spell is. And I used to hear that too. You said that about, I had a good meditation or a bad meditation. I hear that a lot. And I stopped doing that years ago. I don't say good or bad. I was there. And it is what it is. I mean, I put my heart into it. I gave what I could, because I don't want to get into that habit of evaluating. And you know, one of our older swamis in SRF would say, "Don't be spiritually greedy, and expect like a candy every single day, you know, kind of thing. Just give." And I think that was a big shift for me. Am I meditating? Is my practice secretly selfish? Is the ego wants something? I want a result. I want this. I want that. I want an experience. Instead of, I'm here to give something.
But I wonder too about the giving, if that is also the sweetest candy. It's both.
Now you're talking like the mystics and the bhaktas, yeah. That's what they say. Yeah.
Right, like if it has to be genuine, there's no way around it.
Yeah.
So if I believe, if I know that meditation is important, that it is an act of giving, I think that's why it's tricky, it's challenging, because a lot of our culture, we want evidence.
Yeah.
You know, what is the result of this? You know, I give something, I can tell, but you know, I really believe that, you know, we are connected to something larger than ourselves.
Yeah.
And what are the implications of that? That means that whatever I'm feeling inside has an effect on the external. So that's given me great motivation to practice, to purpose. It's not just for me. It's for this energy that's going out from me and having an effect. And the biggest challenge is that I don't know what that effect is. But I can have faith that it's doing something.
Yeah.
And that's bigger than just cultivating some sweetness within myself. But the cool thing about it is that by doing that, then the sweetness is there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I wonder too about in meditation if we can play the role of mother for ourselves. You know, like when it's challenging, when maybe, you know, thoughts are coming up, because usually it's challenging because, you know, I'm judging, I'm analyzing, I'm ruminating, and then all of a sudden I say, oh, I've just been doing that for, you know, 10, 15 minutes, whatever it is. My mind's just been going. And then there's a choice about what the next story is. And it can be, oh, I'm not a good meditator, or there's something wrong with me for doing that. And maybe that's when the mother comes in to play and sends us a different message about what just happened.
Yeah. I think it's important. I think it's an ebb and a flow. It's such an organic thing, you know, meditation. It's living.
Yeah.
So wherever we are, whatever's happening, I think of, you know, when someone's really worried a lot and going through something, you know, that like the kind of encouragement, that motherly encouragement of just sort of like a stroke on the back. It's okay. Just relax. It's going to be all right. Sometimes it's all we need, and we don't always get it in life. So yeah, maybe we just need to have that in ourselves, feel that, do that for ourselves, or ask Mother. can you just caress me on the back a little bit?
Yeah.
Can you know, I'm here, I'm ready to do this,
Yeah.
but, you know.
It's interesting. What flashed in my mind is my role as a father, because I have children. So when they
I
hurt
respect
themselves,
that very much. I always bow to parents.
when they get hurt, they fall off their bike or whatever it is.
Yeah,
In those
yeah.
moments, is so tricky, right? Because, and the reason I thought about this is because, obviously a lot of the times the inclination is to hold them, to rub their back, but there also seems that there's this valid voice that says it's important for them to be able to comfort themselves, right? I think that's valid because, and that's also my role as a parent, is helping them to be independent, and that's the greatest form of independence, is to be able to comfort yourself, because I'm not always going to be there to rub their back and to hold them, and but it's really tricky knowing when to do which,
Yeah. I don't have much to say on parenting.
Yeah. But I wonder if we do that with ourselves, because I'm also interested in
I
this
think
idea
so
with
too.
like parenting ourselves, like
Yeah.
when is kind of the message to just get out there, just show up, just keep going,
Yeah.
that sort of
Yeah.
thing, and the other message is like take a break,
Yeah.
relax,
Yeah. Yeah, and I remember reading, I think it's an autobiography, that Sri Yukteswar, who was the stern, strict guru, and I've heard other SRF devotees tell me, of all of the gurus, Sri Yukteswar is the one that I have the most tough time with, because they kind of project that fatherly, stern disciplinarian.
Yeah.
And it's just a projection. It's almost like a psychological thing, and it has to do with our society. So they're like, oh, he's judging me. He's not smiling in the picture. I feel like it's a little superficial. Kind of roll my eyes like he's loving. But I understand it too, because we have these cultural things, and he was so loving. He just wasn't very, very expressive. He was very, very, very loving. And he said that there's wisdom in the disciplined way and in the loving way. As long as it's applied with wisdom, they're equally effective. He called it the yielding, kind of like the yielding, like being more flexible and patient, and the unyielding way of discipline, and the yielding way of love. Both are equally effective if applied with wisdom. And that really hit me, because I often wondered, is one better than the other? Is love weak? If I'm not a very good devotee, does that mean I need more coddling? And if I'm a really good yogi, then I'm going to get all the hard training and I'm going to get all the things. Well, not necessarily, because if it's applied with wisdom, both are effective. And so then I thought, well, how do we get the wisdom to know when it's right to, like you're saying, how do you know? But there's another place in another writing, and I don't know which saint or mystic it was, always err on the side of love. If you're going to make a mistake as an imperfect human between this way and that way, put your chips in love. Make your mistake if you make a mistake, because love, and of course love means many things, but even as a father or as a friend or as a devotee, as much love as we can muster up in the moment, it really can't do harm. And as a father, there's an instinct that kicks in that out of love, you're going to protect your children. So I think out of love, Divine Mother, slaps us at times or scolds us, shakes us, because we're ready to, step in front of a car or something and get hit. And you can't just say, oh, I love you. If you touch fire or touch a stove, if a kid reaches out to the stove, the parents don't just say, oh, isn't he cute? I just love my child. It's like, stop, but that's also coming from love. So I think as much as we can, if we're not sure, whether it's with people, but also with ourselves, to be loving and yet be disciplined. And tough balance, I think we're here to learn it. And we'll make mistakes, and we just keep refining as it goes. But again, that's why I have so much respect for parents.
But that's so good. I think you've really taken us to a beautiful question, right? how do we get that wisdom in the moment? And this is great, erring on the side of love. Like, yes, but still to look at this question of, in the moment, how do I have that wisdom to know what action to take?
Yeah.
How am I able to do that? Does
Yeah.
anything come to your mind for how?
Well, for me, in the moment, what I've learned, in the moment, take a deep breath. Unless, a snake's going to bite you, everyone has 1 second.
Yeah.
I mean, there's very rare instances where we don't have a second to take a breath. And I've tried to insert that as a reaction is to breathe. Instead of a reaction is usually this. So I try to tell myself and it's hard because sometimes it's that reaction is so instant.
Yeah.
And take a breath and then react. That's one thing I think that helps, because that one breath stops the ego reaction or the instinctual reactions, and might give a space for something maybe we've been working on, or an affirmation, or a new quality we're trying to develop. Might give a chance for that to come out. So it's a little bit of biting the tongue, and then taking a breath, and then and we're all works in progress. So we need and if not, then what I always say, and I've really tried to practice this in my life, if I miss that opportunity and I say something that's unkind, or I snap or whatever, as soon as I notice it, say sorry. As soon as I notice it, own it and say sorry, and try to take responsibility for whatever I just did. And that's also a victory. It's not batting 1,000, and we can't bat 1,000. I mean, if we put that pressure on ourselves to be perfect, we're going to be wrecks. To just acknowledge, I'm sorry, and then to try to just do better. Because I think that's love and discipline too, to say sorry and kind of own something and try to heal it.
It is so healing to say sorry. And it's so interesting how sometimes there's great resistance in that, right? It feels like the hardest thing to do.
Yeah.
And then after I do it, it's like, wow, that was no big deal. Like, that was great. Like, you feel the rightness of it.
Yeah.
Curious about kind of your relationships with, do you consider that you have students at all? Or,
Yeah.
So yeah, just that, because that's a tricky thing, right?
Yeah.
To be a teacher, to have students, and navigating that. So how do you navigate those relationships?
Yeah, it's a wonderful question. Students is the word I definitely don't ever think disciples or devotees. That's for the great gurus and acharyas. But students, yes, and being a teacher, what has really helped me is something that again, from Yogananda's writings, that the guru-disciple relationship is the highest form of friendship. That's what he wrote. And he elaborated on it that even the guru-disciple relationship is based on friendship. It's just the highest form of friendship, but it's friendship. So I just take that and remind myself that I want my relationships with students and others and everyone to be based on friendship. And I think friendship inherently, it means so much to me, friendship, being a friend, that inherently friendship has to be equal. So the illusion of teacher up here and student down here, because it's an illusion, it just gets, it balances out friend. I have something to offer, and the student has something to that they want to receive, some knowledge or some teaching. But that doesn't require this, this imbalance. It can still be an equal friendship. And also to always acknowledge that I am a student too. And and one thing I say, and I really believe in this, every guru is also a disciple. And just to remember, even our great gurus that we have, they are all disciples too. And they model to us what it means to be a disciple. So to see or to imagine in my mind the great gurus that I have in my mind, to imagine them touching the feet of their guru, to imagine them being the student. It just reminds me that wherever we are in our roles in life, if we're teaching someone, to acknowledge that we are also students of our teachers, and we're just passing something along that we've learned. And another thing is that I can only share so far as I have gone in life. And so I just keep very honest about what I can teach, what I can share, and then when I reach a point where I don't know, I don't know.
And that might be as important of a lesson as there is for a student to hear their
True.
teacher or
Yeah.
parent, right, say, I don't know.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
I wonder too, what happens then to the student in that moment when they hear their teacher say, I don't know.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Yeah, it's nowadays there's so many teachers, and if we specifically talk about yoga, I think the word has become so watered down, and we just don't have all of the words. In India, there's 5 or 6 words that we just translate as teacher. So there's different levels, and I think that's important to understand. But I do think that teachers have a big responsibility, and so my own kind of principle or guiding principle in my life is to never criticize a student or a devotee or a seeker, someone who wants to know something, and they make mistakes. They say silly things. They don't know. It's okay. They're learning. I never criticize that. But teachers should be criticized and should receive criticism because they have a responsibility to know. So if a teacher teaches something that's wrong, or a teacher misrepresents something, someone has to correct them because they're teaching other people who are taking that in. So I think being a teacher, I really take it seriously and feel that there's a responsibility there. And approach it with kind of an awe and a reverence and a humility that if I'm teaching something that's a higher knowledge or a divine thing, to really make sure. And then to try to surround myself with other either mentors or teachers who've been doing it longer to kind of check me, because it's very dangerous to only be with students.
Yeah.
So to be with others, peers and elders and things to just kind of keep the ego in check and to know that teachers should be open to criticism, especially from other teachers. Sort of like a checks and balance.
Do you ever have moments when a student will say, maybe like you're sharing something or teaching something, and they'll say, but this seems to contradict something you said previously.
Yeah.
But you said this, and now you're saying this, and they don't necessarily line up.
Yeah. That happens.
What do you think what do you do in that moment? I mean, I guess maybe it depends on what the actual thing is. But
yeah, it depends. Yeah. Because sometimes there are contradictions, even in the teachings.
Right.
Well, that's a contradiction.
Yeah, and it could be a beautiful moment.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, here's these two things. What do you think?
Yeah.
Which one is valid?
Yeah.
How do we hold both of those things? It totally seems that that's the case often in life, right? It's like, both of these things are true. And do I have to choose one or the other? Right? Like, maybe again, that's our culture a little bit, that we need to be on one side or the other side.
Yeah.
But do we really?
Right.
Can we hold both?
What you said there is something I've really contemplated for a couple of years. This binary option, like, is it left or right? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it this or it's that? That's like the lower mind. Yeah. Both.
Right.
And then suddenly the expansion is there. Both? Is that possible?
Yeah. It is the lower mind. Like, looking at that, you kind of just see the immaturity of it, right? That there's something even maybe that's afraid inside of me. There's some kind of fear, and out of that fear, I feel like I need to know this one or the other.
Yeah.
But the higher self doesn't have that need to choose. It sees that is not really important or necessary. Yeah. And maybe this also relates to kind of our relationship with words is something I'm very interested in, especially, being a teacher, right? Okay, so we're using words, but you're also using the example of your being, right? And is that an even more influential teacher than whatever is coming out of your mouth,
Hopefully it is.
Yeah. Or maybe it is regardless.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just that I wonder how much, like, processing is going on for us all the time.
Yeah.
You know, in regard to just another person's being and the way that they're carrying themselves, the way they're operating in the world. That's the thing that's teaching us more than even what they have to say.
I think so. Yeah. Our example speaks louder than words, like the old saying. So our words have to be prepared, and we have to do a good job at what we do. But yeah, how we say it, what we feel, and then how we live is a big part of it. And very important.
But I think there also can be a little frustration sometimes in that, or it requires a leap of faith in being the example, right? Because the lesson isn't necessarily immediate or when I want it. I just have to have faith in the power of being the example. No.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think of myself as being an example. I think because I just assume that that's a setup for the ego. Like, I'm going to be the example. So I try to be very honest about who I am and where I'm at on the path, especially if I'm with students or something. Relay whatever teaching or whatever knowledge or whatever thing I've learned, and be in a supportive role. Like, I want to support you to live this. I'm also working at it too. And it's not to make an excuse, because again, I think teachers have a responsibility. So this idea that, to make an extreme example, today in like commercial yoga, the idea that a yoga teacher, a yoga instructor, can live however they want to live. As long as at the yoga studio they teach the thing and people get their 500 hours. It's just become so transactional. Like, no, a teacher has a responsibility. They have to be making an effort themselves, and they have to be at a certain level of living the teachings, not perfect. But I also don't know what the word is, since you like words so much. There must be another word than example. And I don't know how I think about it to myself, but I mean, in one sense, now I'm remembering one of the older swamis in SRF who I really loved so much. He said, well, don't worry, you're always an example. You're either showing someone what they would like to be or what they don't want to be. So it's like, don't worry, you're always an example. And we laughed about it. But you could be an example of good behavior or bad behavior, and people will learn from it either way. So
that's right. It's back to the planting seeds.
Yeah.
The seed is planted, and then what comes after is it sprouts whenever it sprouts. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this, for being here at Yogaville.
It's really been wonderful to be here, and so much kindness and love and welcome. So I really appreciate that, and it's been good for my spirit and my soul to come here. I think of this as like sadhu sangha. It's this term of going outside of your own normal lineage or community and being with another, and learning and being inspired and all of that. And that's what it's been for me these 4 or 5 days. I'm really happy to meet you too, and thank you for inviting me to this.
We'll come back soon then, okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Would you mind closing us with a prayer too? I'm sure it's going to be beautiful. Yeah.
Okay, I would be happy to. Yes, thank you. It's Monday today in the holy month of Shravan, so I'll sing a chant to Shiva. Karpura Gauram Karunavataram Samsara Saram Bhujagendraharam Sada Vasantam Hridayaravinде Bhavam Bhavani Sahitam Namami. And I wish also to offer my pranams to this beautiful guru lineage here at Yogaville, Sachitanandaji, Shivananda Maharaj, and all of you.
Jai.
Jai.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. If you've enjoyed this content and think others might as well, please feel free to share and subscribe.